Su-57's terrible scream. Fifth-generation fighter jet of Russia. This screaming voice has now been heard in the press, and it is said that the problems of the plane are too much. According to some, this sound from the plane is actually said to be caused by the problems of the plane. So how is this fighter jet in its final form? Why is the scary screaming sound coming from the plane? Or what are the allegations and troubles about it? Let's start examining. Russian Federation. It is a country that has always managed to remain among the strongest states in the world. Moreover, it was able to maintain its military power even when its economy was bad. Of course, its army also suffered from some troubles. As an example, many critical projects were disrupted. But no matter what, they also provided their soldiers with their needs. Depending on this situation, it is possible to understand why they are so successful in missiles. If you ask how this situation is, it is very costly to produce hundreds of jets or helicopters. However, if you give importance to systems such as missile and missile defense instead, you will be cheaper and provide a strong defense. But of course this job has different dimensions. If you are a superpower, eventually you have to develop attack-oriented aerial platforms as well. Let's look at this plane, which is the last step Russia has taken at this point. We will try to find out why it made this sound through its features and the troubles of the plane. In addition, since there are few reviews about the aircraft, we cannot ignore the features of the aircraft. The Su-57 is a plane that is said to be bad by many. Both its engines and powerful aircraft such as the F-35 are the reasons why this plane is found bad. Actually, this is not the case with the plane, of course. The power of Su-57 is at high levels. To understand this, let's look at the highlighted sides of the fighter jet. Su-57 is a fighter jet that can reach speeds of 2,600 km per hour. He owes this to his powerful engines. For this reason, it has a rise speed of 300 meters per second. The range of the plane is given as 5,000 kilometers. In other words, it has a higher altitude than many aircraft in the world, and it can reach this altitude without needing additional fuel. It is also a situation in proportion to the size of the plane and its altitude. Depending on this, let's look at its physical properties. It is exactly 20 meters long and 15 meters wide. The wing area is 80 square meters. As most of us know, Eurofigtor's wing area was 52 square meters. This situation is also contrary to the detection of the plane. As a general design, the aircraft is thin and looks very sharp. Thanks to this appearance, it can be seen less on the radar and fly fast. In terms of content, most of the body is composite. However, the intersections and engines at the rear of the vehicle enable the radar trail to rise to the top. Invisibility was not requested from the Russians, so its design was not changed like other aircraft. But with the systems, some parts are intended not to lose invisibility. In short, medium-grade invisibility is aimed, an airplane built to be neither too visible nor completely hidden. Of course, let's also examine their system, their avionics. In the basic part is the ultra-modern SH 121 radio system. In addition, it has an electro-optical system called the 101 kilo Siemens that makes the aircraft stand out. These two systems are the main avionics of the aircraft, that is, the basic parts. If you ask what these are, I will talk about the answer a little later. The pupil of the aircraft, N036 phased array radars. This system is a rival system with the radar in the F-22. Let's not forget that the F-22 is now called the best fighter aircraft in the world. However, these Russian systems are much more successful and capable, owing to the joint work of almost all avionics. For example, the electronic radio system we just mentioned. This system provides the electronic defense to the radar. Of course, don't be misunderstood, the radar already has the power to protect itself. However, being an additional auxiliary system determines the fate of the pilot on the battlefield. Accordingly, the radar can transmit information to avionics. Thus, situational awareness is created. Whatever you say, this means being capable like UAVs. In addition, the radar is not completely attached to the nose, it is mounted a little further back. Mounting the radar at the rear means that it provides the aircraft with a high angle of view. Also, considering that this warplane can lock on 4 targets at the same time, we can say that it is a destructive fighter. One of the main highlights that is not mentioned much on the plane. This fighter has an infrared search radar called the 101 kilo Siemens. That is, it can track its target even if its main radar is not active. Thus, this warplane would not be detected. As you know, if the aircraft turns on the radar, it becomes easier to detect because you emit waves. So what is striking is that 101 kilo Siemens is found. This part is actually locked to the head of a laser and guided missiles coming to the aircraft. This locked missile head becomes too hot over time, making it unable to hit its target. The aircraft can then fly away with enhanced propulsion. Of course, how much they can achieve this is a debatable issue. The so-called easy is very difficult in practice. In addition, another feature of the plane that stands out is the maneuverability of the plane. Many features have been combined to make such turns. For example, the plane actually has a second pilot, that is, it is semi-autonomous as a computer. If the system breaks down, the active calibration plane will regroup. However, we must remember that the system also failed during the test flight. Maybe it may have been corrected over time or not. Nevertheless, the internal computer has all kinds of effects on the turns of the plane. In addition, the 101 kilo Siemens system is not affected by light sources such as the sun, thanks to ultraviolet rays. This system provides the pilot with information as to how to maneuver. Also, outfits with maximum 9G strength were made for the pilots of this plane. We can say that it can have an effect for a while. In fact, many systems and even designs for the maneuverability of the aircraft are made according to maneuverability. We can see such a talent at the end of all this. Finally, let's look at the aircraft's weapon systems and then talk about the interesting sound it makes. This killer fighter plane can take 10 tons of payload. So it can carry anything. As long as it is suitable for the plane. New hypersonic missiles and air missiles called K-77M are available for the aircraft. It has all kinds of equipment and weapons. Especially hypersonic and nuclear missiles are a big problem for Russia's enemy countries. This plane should definitely be stopped or it will cause a headache. If we take into consideration in general, Su-57s are not focused on attack, but are designed for defense and war. We say for war, because during the war, this aircraft is asymmetrically capable of responding to all kinds of threats. So if it doesn't evolve into a new F-35 event, its systems are capable of handling most tasks. In particular, he is ahead of the aircraft such as the Su-57 and F-22 in some areas. Still, we do not really know if it has surpassed the level of America in general. Let's say we will see this in the future and move on to this screaming thing. What could cause this screaming noise? Let's look through the guesses. This sound of the airplane can be heard from afar. In other words, the sound started to get thicker by decreasing since the people who took the image started to record for the first time. There are many possibilities for this sound. For example, because the plane is very thin, it can make this sound by piercing the air like a knife due to its design. The design of the aircraft differs from the usual in that it can handle powerful maneuvers. A shred of evidence for this is that the sound is cut off when the audience passes. Otherwise, it doesn't have much connection with the engine of the plane. In addition, we said the design was sharp. There are some points that do not fit this. For example, when the front air intake point of the engine is smooth airflow around the body, there may have been distortions at this point and this noise may have been generated. There may be different reasons, but the possible sound is due to its simple design. Of course, the part that interests us is the background of this sound. Those who describe this as the problems that the aircraft suffered as construction. So figuratively. Actually, the name of Su-57 is not Su-57. When India and Russia jointly developed this plane, it was referred to as the T-50 Pakfa. Let's give this as a piece of preliminary information. The problems of the plane were primarily on the Russian side. The Su-57 project was going through problems at the time. We have seen the systems of the aircraft, they are all very ambitious and there were unknown problems in the plane. After that, India withdrew from the project because it was also troubled. Then, when Russia remained alone and got into economic difficulties, the project was extended and extended to these days. When we come to these days, the first of this plane was delivered to Russia, but many concessions have been made. For example, while the Russian Space Air Force will receive hundreds, the number it will receive has dropped to 76. Moreover, the speed of mass production of the plane is also extremely slow. Another reason for this slow production is the epidemic in the world. Production has slowed all over the world due to the epidemic. Well, Russia already had economic problems. We saw where things went as a result of everything coming together. Here are the actual screams of the Su-57 we told you about. All in all, the Su-57 is truly a modern and dangerous aircraft. It is up to you to answer whether it is stronger or weaker than your competitors. We saw the screams and troubles of the plane. After a long time, the plane started to get over the troubles again. Let's see if he can overcome his troubles completely and put himself above the earth level. We will see this together. I am Defenseline and I wish everyone a happy day. See you.